Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to another indie book review. This time, it is another sequel, the second book in the Temper trilogy by Lila Mina, and it is Dread. Now, I always get a little bit nervous going into the second book in a trilogy because there's always the question of, is this going to have second book in a trilogy syndrome where it's like, oh, we're basically just getting from point A to point B. No, it is not. Some serious things go down in this book. Now, obviously, because this is a sequel, I'm going to be talking about things that happened in the first book that could be spoilers. So if you're interested in a polyamorous romance set in Japan, please feel free to check out my review of the first one, Deference. I will have that linked down in the description below. But if you have read that and you're interested to see what the sequel is all about, this one actually doesn't amp up the erotica for reasons I can't explain because of plot. But it amps up in a whole other way, which I also can't get too much into because of spoilers. So this is a really tough book to talk about. So to be as vague as I can, this book took a very big left turn that I had not been expecting, and it gets supernatural. Let's just call it what it is. It goes full out supernatural, and I was really confused at first. I felt like it came out of nowhere, but then the character was like, oh, I remember this thing that happened at this time, and it was an event from book one, and I'm like, oh no, yeah, that makes sense. I get it now. And the fantasy elements are based on Japanese folklore, so it is still based in Japan. And again, if for whatever reason you're watching this one without having read the first book or watched the first review, or you forgot, Lila Mina, while being a Caucasian woman, is living in Japan, so it is hands-on knowledge that she is providing. So the fact that all of the supernatural elements were based in Japanese folklore was very nice. I liked it. I did see that it wasn't just a left turn out of nowhere, that it had very much been planned ahead of time. However, I still wasn't the biggest fan of it, mostly because I felt like there's enough going on in the meat of the story, minus the supernatural elements, that more or less could work on their own. However, it didn't totally take away from the story, so I'll kind of let that one slide. So if you were coming to this looking for a perfect contemporary, this one might be a little bit of a letdown for you. And like I mentioned before, the sex scenes were much lighter this time because of plot reasons. And I particularly enjoyed that there wasn't as much blood play. I'm not going to yuck anyone else's yum, but that's just a kink I don't understand. Bloodborne pathogens. Anyway, so that was a little bit lighter. I also really liked the reveal of Lana's backstory. Our protagonist it was very mysterious, and I liked that you didn't know it in the first book, so that when you finally figure out what it is in this book, you're like, oh crap. And then you find out some things about both Honda and Yuki's background that was also very meaty, and it added a lot, and I love that. So like I said, this doesn't fall into the point A to point B second book in a trilogy. A lot of stuff happens, a lot of stuff is revealed, a lot of new maybe antagonists, maybe allies eventually. So in general, I really loved that part. The other one thing that kept it from being a total 5-star for me, aside from the supernatural aspects maybe feeling a little bit too much at times, was, and I know it's just my preference, I wanted more of the Japanese-ness. What I mean by that is there were a couple times where the characters were going to go into a thing that was very based in Japanese culture. At one point, they're at a Shinto shrine about to take part in this ceremony for plot reasons, and another part, they're at a sumo competition. And so in both cases, it was kind of like lead up, and they're taking their seats, and then I skipped ahead to the end, and I was like, no! I wanted that. That's half the fun of it, is getting to see, Japanese culture from someone living in 21st century Japan. And I had put up the written review actually a little while ago at this point, a couple days, and Lila Mina and I have pretty much gotten, I think we're friends. I hope I didn't just get weird, but I never know when to call online friends to their face. Anyway, we talk a lot, and she mentioned that she actually had originally put in more of the like play-by-play, blow-by-blow Japanese elements, but she actually had like beta readers and other readers tell her to take it out, which, first of all, why? Beta readers fail. Like, that's half of what makes this book stand out from so many other romances, is that it is authentic 21st century Japanese culture by someone living there. Like, why? But I get it, you know, if so many people are like, we don't want to buy this book if it has that in it, you might have to make some concessions. And as far as I can see, the series has done pretty well for itself, especially for an indie book. And she did mention that the third, which I will be reviewing, has a lot more of those aspects. So I'm hoping to catch up on that in the last one, and some other big things that are going to happen in the last one. She's so good at ending things in a way that, like, both aggravates me and makes me want to keep reading, which I guess is what a cliffhanger is supposed to do. So good job. But other than that, I also loved, probably my biggest thing, and the thing I loved the most, was Honda-san finally shows some emotions. Now, in the first book, he's very stoic, very old school, traditional Japanese, based on honor and containing emotions, and you find out so much about him in this book, and he grows so much. He actually is showing, like, a wide array of very intense emotions, and I was so jazzed, like, because after a while, that stoic character just irks me, and Yuki is still my favorite. I love her. She's the bisexual I want to be, which is not the first character I've said that about, but just, I love it when I come across those pure, unadulterated bisexual characters that just, oh, so good. And even, I still don't think, even after all this, I still don't think Lana, like, would categorize herself as bisexual, because at no point does she, like, show any kind of, you know, inclination in any other way. Like, it's literally just Yuki. So I think at this point we can safely label Lana as hetero-flexible. But Yuki is, oh, I love her so much. She's so, I want someone that calls me Sweet Link. But anyway, this is a very, very solid second book in a trilogy. I gave it 4 stars just because of some of the little things that I wanted maybe a little bit less of, and other things I wanted a little bit more of, but I loved the nice plot twists and the reveals and the new antagonists, and it was just very well done. This is still a series that is very, very different than a lot of erotica and a lot of romance in both indie and traditional settings. So if you're, for some reason, watching this without having read the first one or watched my review on the first one, this is definitely one you should check out if you want something different than what you've read before. I loved it so much, and I cannot wait for the third one. Now, if you are an indie author and you would like a video review like this one, please email me. I will have my email down in the description below, as well as my review policy. Please give that a read through. It answers a lot of questions and saves us a lot of time. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.